Hi guys, my name is Ivo and I'm from mytestedasp.net. In this video we're going to continue my current series, and that's about ASP.NET Core and Angular built from scratch. And as a bonus we're using the latest technologies, ASP.NET Core 5 Preview and Angular 9. So in the current video I'm going to refactor the infrastructure of the server. I'm going to use folder by feature project structure, and I'm going to make it a little bit more cleaner because currently it's not that great. Additionally, I'm going to add swashbuckle or Swagger UI to the project so that the client app can use it as a documentation. Okay, let's start. So first things first, we need to separate a little bit of these calls here because most of them are actually doing too much logic, and it's not good to have that much logic in the startup class directly because we are essentially breaking the solid principles. It's the startup class should configure most of the services, but currently it does quite a lot of stuff. So let's extract it, and I'm going to create service collection extensions in the infrastructure folder. I'm going to add service collection extensions. I already said it in one of my previous videos, but all of this is coded live, so if we happen to have some bugs, we are going to solve them in front of you. So you're going to learn something from the debugging session, I guess. Okay, so first what we need to do is I'm going to extract that public static iService collection identity. This iService collection services. I'm going to add the following identity builder. So let me do it like this. I'm returning the services because I just want to have chainable services. Okay, I'm going to add something else, add DB context. Below the DB context, we can add identity, the method I just created, so this can be removed safely. Then I'm going to add JWT bearer, or just add authentication. JWT authentication, that will be my method. So I'm going to say public static iService collection at JWT authentication. This iService collection services, and I'm going to copy the logic from here, which is all of that. Like this. Good. Let's import everything needed. What I also need is the configuration. So let's add that. Configuration like this, and I'm going to use it here. Then I'm going to return the services directly. Okay, so now what I can say is add JWT authentication, this dot configuration, like this. This is actually something different, so let me check it. Done, and I'm going to add controllers. Here is why we're doing a Catstagram app, guys. I'm going to make you famous, dude. Don't remove my camera, please. Okay, you're good to go. Thank you for being famous. Okay, so let me check what else we can do. We can... the app settings currently are here, which is not quite good. So let's extract that and let's add it here. I'm going to say this dot configuration because essentially the JWT authentication should not manage the configuration too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract that too. Then I'm going to pass the application settings here, and I'm going to say that this method expects actually the application settings like this. So this method currently only setups the JWT authentication, which is essentially our goal. Then I'm going to add a new method, a new class, configuration extensions. Then I'm going to say public static. Remember guys, I'm doing this only to make the code as clean as possible. This should be your number one goal when writing software. You should aim to follow the solid principles and aim to make the codes as readable as possible. Each unit should have separate purpose and single responsibility. That's what I'm trying to achieve here, to make the configure services method easier to read and also extract some of the logic in it. So public static string get default connection string, this configuration will use this thing. Done, and let's get the application settings. Public static return the application settings and say get app settings, again from the configuration, which is essentially the following code. We will need the services also, so make it like this: iService collections services without this here. it looks more cleaner now, and we can also pass it like this for now because we won't need it. Be a separate variable, and let's make it like this. We can also make the following be chained because it's shows that we're essentially chaining the logic here like this, and let's remove the not needed namespaces. This is how you can see how much cleaner the startup class now is, because we removed maybe half of the namespaces here, so we extracted a lot of stuff. Let's run the app to make sure that it's working correctly, because I moved quite a lot of stuff. Localhost, I don't want index. What I need to try now is to make a postman request. Let's try to log in, sending a request. I need to set the port of the app to be 5001, and I received unauthorized. Why I'm receiving the unauthorized, I'm not quite sure, so let's try to register user, which should come from here, username, email. Everything is fine. Let's try to log in now. I'm going to remove the email because I don't need it, and I'm receiving a token. Great. Cool. Everything should be fine. What I need to do also is I need to remove the required field from the create cat request model, because if you use Instagram, you will know that you can add an image without description. So let's change that also. And what I want to do now is I want to introduce a features folder, and I want to have all the every feature and everything related to the feature in a separate folder, because this way I'm going to restructure my app so that it's more easier for a developer to find what he is working on. So I'm going to rename this folder to features. Then I'm going to change all controller namespaces. Then what I need to do is I need to move the models, and I'm going to introduce for each feature a separate folder. The first one is identity. The identity is identity controller here. So let's move the identity controller here. Then I'm going to add identity like this. What else I need is I need my both view models to be here in the feature folder. So essentially in each feature folder I will have all the models for the controller, I will have all the services for that controller, and I will have the controller itself. So it will be easier for developer if he is working on, for example, the identity part of the system. He will know where to look, and it will be easier for him to find that. That's the one way of one of the popular ways to add structure to your project, and it's called folder by feature. The other one is folder by type, and I have already created video series about it. I'm going to leave a link in the description if you're curious about it, but I believe this is a little bit superior when you create bigger apps. Uh, Folder by type is great on smaller scale. When you're creating bigger and more scalable apps, I prefer to use folder by feature, the current approach I'm going to introduce here, and I prefer to use clean architecture, but the clean architecture will be introduced in this project later in this video series. So for now I'm going to use only that. Okay, so I have an identity controller, and if I take a look around this, I will see that Mm, I'm doing quite a lot of logic in my controllers. Essentially, the controller logic should be only request response logic and delegation to the service layer, which currently the register is kind of okay because I'm doing request response work. I'm extracting data from the request. I'm delegating tasks to the service layer, which is essentially the user manager here, and I'm returning response. That's fine. This action is completely okay. But this one is doing too much. This one has a request to response relationship and logic here, which is kind of okay. It has the same thing here, which is okay, but then it starts creating uh, identity token, which kind of it's not for here. That's not okay. So let's go and add identity service, an interface identity service here, which is going to uh, generate the token for us. So that's the logic. I'm going to make the method string generate JWT token. Let's create the class for this service, identity service. Look how easy it is to spot the different parts of the identity component. The identity module is here in this folder, and I can easily see what is the controller, what is the service, and what is the model. It's very easy to work on a single model this way because everything is in a single folder. Identity service. And let's move this logic, the identity service. Let's import everything. And what I need here is I need the user, string user ID, string username, and I need the application secret. string secret. So let's replace this and return the encrypted token like this. Let's fix the signature of the interface method and let's say that the encrypted token should be generated from the identity service here. Identity service, like this. Let's introduce a read-only field. User.id is required, user.username, and this app settings secret. Done. And this is how we cleaned our identity controller and move everything in the features folder. Let me check it one more time. I'm going to add a model, login response model, because I don't like anonymous types. They don't have good type safety, so let's use that login response model. Let's add it here and let's add it here. Okay, for now we're doing great. The home controller should be deleted. We don't need it. And let's add another folder for our other features, which are the cats endpoints. I'm going to move the cats controller here, which should be in cats namespace. What I will need is the create cat request model, and the models folder is no longer needed. So I have create cat request model, which should be in server features.cats. This is no longer needed. And what I also need is iCats service. Cats cat service, an interface. But before we continue, I would like to tell you where we can find this source code, the demos I'm using in my videos. You should go to my GitHub profile, Ivailo Kenov, hit repositories, find the TV repository, and essentially that's the repository I'm uploading uh, all my demo code I'm using in my C# lessons, and also I link all my lessons here. So you may take a look, you may find an useful video, you may play with the code. Actually, everything is free and open source, so you can take a look at it. Additionally, you may watch the repository, because usually I upload the videos after I upload the source code and link them here, so you are going to see the videos first from the repository directly, and I will appreciate if you give me a star. Thank you for that. I'm going to use the moment to thank my sponsors. That's Endeavor. Thank you guys, you truly rock. And if you're a passionate developer who is always on the search for great and cool projects, make sure you check Endeavor out. They're a very nice company. My other sponsors are Softuni, Smart IT, Noble Hire, and 1-Bit Software. Thank you guys, you truly rock, and I will be more than happy if you continue to support me in the future because you motivate me to continue providing free knowledge on YouTube. Okay, let's return to the code. I have iCat service. So what I want to do is I want to have public async. I need to call that asynchronously. So let's create public async task from int create. I'm going to pass for now the parameters. This is the logic I need. So wait a minute, that's the interface. To create a class first, get service. And get service. Let's put the logic here. Going to need the data cat, and I'm going to need string image URL, string description, string user ID. Then I'm going to need the DB context directly. Let's initialize it from a constructor like this. Let's make that async. Let's pass the image URL and let's pass the description. Let's fix the interface method here like this. Let's reuse the service. Private read-only iCat service, cat service, introduce that from constructor, and that should be it. By extracting the service layer, I'm getting a really nice and clean controller logic, which essentially is very, very, very nice. To improve this further, we can introduce clean architecture, but as I said, we're going to add it in the future. For now, this is more than enough, and the code is super clean and everything is located in a nice little folder. So my project currently has a data folder, a features folder, and infrastructure folder. Data is everything related to the database. In the infrastructure is everything related to helper classes for the web project, and in the features I'm putting everything separated by folders so that it's easier to find every single feature. What I'm missing currently is I need to add the services. So let's create an infrastructure method which will be called iService collection add application services. This iService collection services like this, and here I'm going to add the identity service mapped to the identity service, and then I'm going to add the iCat service mapped to the cat service like this. Later in the tutorial we're going to change this service layer to be automatically added by using reflection, but for now let's leave it like this. Okay, so everything should be working correctly. Let's run the app. Since we cannot be sure that everything is fine, I'm going to add unit tests and integration tests in the next video, but for now let's test it in Postman. Let's send the message, unable to resolve identity service while attempting to activate. Okay, there's something wrong here. And I believe I didn't add the add application services method here. We can even extract the file link. It's not necessary, but it's nice addition. Add database, this configuration, and let's this should be in the other class. I'm going to change it in a minute. Services. Like this, and let's this at database. Okay, and let's move this method to its proper place, and that's the service collection extensions here. Okay, I believe everything is now done. All the classes are looking very clean. Everything is separated. What I want to add as part of this video is I'm going to add swashbuckle. So first I will need to install swashbuckle ASP.NET Core, this one. Then I'm going to add service collection extensions, public static iService collection at swash. At Swagger, this iService collection services. And what I need is essentially the following code. My catstagram API version 1. Good. Let's remove that directly. This is my code. Okay, and then I need to go use Swagger. It should be code for use routing, I guess. Let's use it here. And at Swagger UI, I'm going to extract this in a minute, but let's first see that everything is working correctly. Actually, nothing is working correctly. I cannot access the Swagger. And I also need to specify the route prefix. I want it to be on the index page, so options route prefix equals to string.empty, like this. Let's run it again. There's an error, and the error is because not all HTTP methods are marked with an attribute. So let's fix that. Cats controller, we have HTTP post, everything is okay. Identity controller, we should have HTTP post here, and we should have HTTP post here too. Let's run it again. And the Swagger UI is now working correctly. Identity register, identity login, cats, everything is working fine. Of course, if I need to specify everything, I should say produces response type attributes, and I should annotate my actions with XML documentation so that the Swagger can provide more information to the client. But I'm not going to do this as part of the tutorial because it will take me too much time to document everything. So let's keep it short and clean. But if you want to provide every piece of information, you should add produces response type here, status codes, dot status code Vesta 200 OK, for example, and so on. So if this is returning created, we should put created. If it's returning multiple answers, like for example here we have unauthorized, bad request, OK, and so on, we should put produces response type, status codes dot bad request, and status code OK, like this. This way Swagger will generate proper response type uh, proper response type documentation. If Ines say that I need to add these status codes to make her work easier on the client, I'm going to add them in the video, but for now, let's just skip them because we apparently don't need it. And lastly, I'm going to add public static void uh, use Swagger UI. App, use Swagger UI, use Swagger UI, like this. And this is how we extracted the following logic. And what I also want to do is to specify use course, but actually that's kind of okay. It shows everything nice and clean what it's allowed, so let's leave it like that. But the Swagger UI had quite a lot of configuration and quite a lot of magic strings, so I decided to extract it. Okay, so we're pretty much done with this video. What I want to do is first I want to publish the app on Azure so that the client can use it with all the latest changes. And I also want to commit it on GitHub. So let's go to the Catstagram server. First, I'm going to pull everything. Source TV, sync, pull. Maybe I will need an authentication type. So let's add that. Done. Now what I clicked. Now I should have the client also because Ines pushed it, and let's add the server. Separated features folder. The reason I'm showing the actual commit is because I want you guys to see the actual development. We're working on this project like we're actual developers in a company. We're committing, we're changing stuff, we're fixing bugs, we're communicating to solve some API issues and so on. So this is why I'm showing the publish part, I'm showing the committing part and the whole GitHub uh, usage. So separated features folder, it's always good to have a meaningful message because this way the history of the project will be very clean. So created features folder and added Swagger. Usually I would prefer to make two commits for this, one for Swagger and one for the features folder, but I don't want to flood too many commits and pushes on the video, so that's more than enough. Okay, push, and I want to validate that Swagger is working on the actual server, and apparently it is. So guys, thank you for being with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video in which I introduced folder by feature project structure and I install Swagger. See you guys in the next part.